So we have gone through steps 1, 2, and 3. Just a reminder for everyone was the go shopping. Make sure that the ITAM technology that you're renewing or rebuying is the right one on the market. Things might have changed. Number 2, time to value. Making sure that you're getting the implementation done quickly. You've got everything aligned internally, etc., etc. Number 3 was security. You can go and see all of these anyway. I'll put links in descriptions box. I'm not going through this run through every time. But Lauren, we were on the edge of our seats for number 3. We're falling off our seats now. What is number 4?
Number 4 for me is customer service and the reputation that the vendor has, because the transaction of an ITAM SAM tool, it doesn't end at the point of sale. You know, there's always going to be instances where you need help or technical support or, you know, additional training from that vendor. So really research what the customer satisfaction rate of your vendor is, because you really need to make sure you have a partnership with your vendor. So Gartner Peer Insights, that's a great tool for this. It's real customers telling their real life stories. I'd recommend going and reviewing that. And like I say, you know, even when you're having those initial conversations with an ITAM vendor, how is their customer service? You know, do you get to talk to enough people to really understand what that support is, whether it's your SAM peers or, you know, just people you know in the industry? Go and find out what the customer service is like.
I got this isn't a tricky question, but it might be. But, you know, whenever you implement a new ITAM tool and you go as part of your RFP and your RFI, you're right, I want customer references. I want to be able to talk to an organization that's similar in size to me, in the same kind of industry as me, so I can get, you know, a kind of almost what I can expect, a like-for-like comparison. Now, obviously, the ITAM tool or the managed service provider providing that service is going to give you a happy customer and a successful customer. They may not give you a balanced overview of what their customer base satisfaction, you know, currently is. Whereas I think you mentioned earlier, Gartner Peer Insights, people aren't afraid to go on there, right, and be honest and truthful and not give 5 stars and give, you know, less ratings on that. But yeah, what kind of considerations would you say to an ITAM manager that's been given customer references? You know, would you kind of be a bit cautious of it? Would you be a bit realistic and say, actually, there's probably better ways to speak to that tool provider's customers?
I think you've got to do it a various amount of ways. I think taking the customers that the vendor gives you as a reference as a good starting point, but also talk to people you know in the industry. But I'd be very careful of talking to people in the industry who haven't used the ITAM technology. There's a lot of people who will say, oh yeah, I heard this, or, you know, I know from someone else that it's not great. You know, talk to the people who actually are using it, because they're the people that's really going to give you the right answer. You've got to consider everything in terms of customer service, you know, the reputation in the market versus people using it. And yeah, you're right, you know, a vendor is going to give you a customer that, you know, is quite happy with the solution, but also there's ways of weighing that up. Do they match what you asked for? Are they in the industry that you asked for? Have they given you a completely different customer? Are they roughly the same size? I know from experience, and I did this once when I was in end user SAM, and I asked for a customer reference where they actually had a SAM manager, not an IT manager, not a service desk manager. I asked for someone where they had a SAM manager using the solution, and that's not what they gave me. So in terms of that, instead of coming back to me and saying, well, we don't have a SAM manager using it, they just gave me someone else. So ultimately, they didn't directly answer the question I wanted.
Bit of a red flag, that, right? And I think something that I remember years ago, Danny Begg, the legendary Danny Begg, he put on LinkedIn, God, this was going back 6, 7, maybe even 8 years ago, saying that, right, we're not happy with our current ITAM tool. I'm looking for suggestions on what you've used out in the market and, you know, what's working well. And the feedback on that, I remember watching the thread with like popcorn, like, oh, this is getting good. Like people going, oh, I heard this one's rubbish. Oh no, I'm using this one, it's great. But I think now, like, I don't understand why more people don't do that on LinkedIn. Like, I know you've got privacy and stuff like that, but like, why don't you put on LinkedIn, like, I'm looking at maybe getting like Landsweeper, or, you know, something maybe that's not like one of the bigger, shinier, more expensive ones, but something that still does a really good job for what it does. Why don't more people put it out on LinkedIn to say, has anyone got experience with this tool? If so, what works? What doesn't work? You know, let's be honest. What kind of customer service do you get from them? What's their support like? What's their SLAs like? I don't get why people don't do that.
I guess that's where Gartner are trying to fill that gap. you know, especially Gartner Peer Insights. They're trying to fill that gap. But yeah, I agree with you. You know, why are we not talking more about the technology and the solutions and really just discussing it?
Well, we're doing that right now, but yeah, we need like more people to start shout. Maybe that's something. I mean, I see you on LinkedIn put stuff on a lot about like how you're managing this in your tool, how you're doing that in your tool with polls and whatever. But yeah, it'd be so refreshing to see someone just put in, like, I'm looking at ITAM vendor X. Anyone got any experience? Anyone got any customer service feedback? But yeah, in some cases, the ITAM industry is so closed off, but then in other ones, it's way too open. And I think we need to find that kind of medium with stuff like this to be able to give each other feedback and network on technology.
You got to consider, you know, the thing with feedback is everyone's quick to complain, everyone's quick to find the faults, but who's out there shouting out what's good? Who's out there shouting out the positives of ITAM solutions? You know, we can all pick holes in all different ITAM tools, but actually, what does it do brilliantly? What, you know, we need SAM people to start shouting about that. And even ITAM, you know, a solution doesn't have to be just SAM. We should be including hardware asset management, and we should be doing the whole ITAM piece. Can an ITAM tool do ITAM, or is it an ITAM tool that does SAM very well?